Hey guys, in a gender inclusive sense, this is Mr.C or Mr. Cologne of reinforcemyfaith.com. And as a theology teacher, I wanted to propose a second alternative. If you're going to read the New Testament, all 27 books in one sitting, or just is in order, instead of starting with Matthew and then with Revelation, I propose a new order, which long-winded, the St. John plus Papal Supremacy and Chronological Pauline order. So this is for my post-confirmation Catholics or people of goodwill who want to read the Bible. I'm proposing just an alternate title to what is commonly given. So let's go with that and see what I can show you. So there's 27 books in the New Testament that all denominations agree on. We have four Gospels, which three of them are divided into Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Since they are very similar, they're called the Synoptic Gospels. And then we have a Johannine, or a Gospel by the St. John. And then we have one historical document that is a sequel to Luke, that is Acts of the Apostles. And then we have 14 letters attributed to St. Paul. It starts with Romans and then it ends with Second Thessalonians in terms of it goes to the churches, then to the individuals, First Timothy, Second Timothy, Titus, and Philemon. And then Hebrews, I believe it is untitled in the actual pages, but it's attributed to St. Paul, so we put it with St. Paul. And then we have 7 universal or Catholic letters, or general letters or epistles, and they are James, First and Second Peter, John 1, 2, 3, and then St. Jude's, and then we end with the Apocalypse or the Book of Revelations. So we have 5 categories here, and I start off with the 4 Gospels. I want to start with St. John, since in the beginning God created the world. And in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and He became flesh and dwelt among us. Because of the symbolism and tying back to Genesis, I like to start off the New Testament the same way. In a sense, the Gospel ends, or the New Testament ends with St. John of Patmos, which you believe is the evangelist. And the book of Revelation, why don't we start with the New Testament, start with John, and then we end with John. And then we move into St. Mark. And since St. John is very high church, and Jesus talking a lot of dialogues with people, and we have Mark, it's more down to earth, a shorter gospel. So I think it's a good contrast. And then we go to Matthew, and the reason Matthew is here is really because of Luke, since Luke has St. Luke wrote the gospel and also wrote Acts of the Apostles. So I wanted it to flow together. So that's why Matthew is third and not. I guess Matthew could be second in a way, but I wanted to put the biggest contrast between John and Mark, and then Matthew, and then Luke. All right, so then after Luke, you go right into Acts of the Apostles, so it all feels like all part of one piece. All right, so we have St. Paul's letters here. We're going to do it in rough chronological order. Instead of starting with Romans, we'll start with First Thessalonians, the earliest letter believed to be written in all of the New Testament. We have Second Thessalonians, Galatians. Although there's some controversy, well, just gonna put Galatians in controversy in terms of the time it is written. We're just gonna put it after Thessalonians. We got First, Second Corinthians. We have Romans, and then we have Colossians, Ephesians, and Philippians, and then we just decided to put the letters of individuals: Philemon, Titus, and then First Timothy and Second Timothy. And then Hebrews, since it's a little bit different. I still wanted to put it in there. So I guess Hebrews could have been going before Philemon, but I decided to put it in that grouping afterwards. So 7 plus 1 is what we're calling the 7 universal letters, and then the book of Revelations. But we're going to start with St. Peter being the Roman pontiff and the Pope. That is why it has papal supremacy and the title. And it has Second Peter, and since St. Jude's letters very similar to Second Peter, or a lot of things are similar, I decided to put them back afterwards. And then we have St. James, and then we have First John, Second John, Third John, and then Revelation again, since we were beginning with John and with John, and then First, Second, and Third John, since it's by John as well. I wanted to tee up John so that he can finalize and end the New Testament. I hope this has been a worthwhile exercise in terms of if you want to read the New Testament back to back, start with the Gospels, and instead of starting with Matthew, if for your second chance, right? The reason Matthew's there because of church tradition, so don't knock that. Start with that. But if you're gonna read, coming back to it, why don't you start with John and try this way to see if it maybe theology flows better. It's more poetic. It begins with John and ends with John. We have the letters, and then we also have a development of St. Paul's understanding and reading. And yeah, this has been Mr. Cologne, and I hope that you guys have a wonderful and blessed day and seek the true, the good, and the beautiful.